All right. So where we left off last class is we're looking at Michael Jordan in our list 1, and we have Kobe Bryant in list 2. So everybody has Michael Jordan in list 1, everybody has Kobe Bryant in list 2, and the way we ended last class was you practiced how to make a histogram. You practiced mean, median, standard deviation, all in the calculator. So we should be very comfortable with that, okay? So what we're doing today is we're going to talk about median. We spent so much time talking about mean and standard deviation and doing a ton of examples. Now we're going to focus on median. And remember, mean and median are both ways to find central tendencies, ways to find the center, ways to find the center. The difference is the mean, you add them all up and divide by how many there are. You add them all up and divide by how many there are. The median, which we're going to focus on today, you put them in order and find the number in the middle. You put them in order and find the number in the middle. So just to kind of give you a quick example, if I wanted to find the median, let's say we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What would the median be of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I already put them in order. What would the median be? 3. So I actually circle 3. So if there's an odd number of observations, an odd number of numbers, you circle the median. Well, if I had 1, 2, 3, 4, an even number of numbers, where would the median be? Between 2 and 3. And so what you would do is you'd add them up and divide by 2, which gives you 2.5. Okay? So when you're doing median, if there's an odd number or an even number, it's done a little differently. Okay? Here, we circle the median. Here, it's between the two. Are we okay? So real quick, let's practice. On the bottom, I've already done step 1 for you. I've taken Michael Jordan and put him in order. I've taken Kobe Bryant, put them in order. So I've already done step 1 for you. I put the data in order. Notice that Michael Jordan has 15 seasons, an odd number. Kobe Bryant has 16 seasons, an even number. By hand, I want you to find the median for Michael Jordan. By hand, find the median for Kobe Bryant. And then in the calculator, verify the median for Michael Jordan and the median for Kobe Bryant. Okay, go. Okay, keep in mind there are 15 numbers for Michael Jordan. Where would the median be? There are 16 numbers for Kobe Bryant. Yes. Where would the median be?
I'm not trying to get smart, but unlike college algebra, calculus, and those things, the basic concept of steps, they are little different. Like, I mean, if you're working on a car, you take out a screw, it goes back exactly where it came out.
It's analyzing data and making your definition of statistics. So the idea is you get sample data, or ideas about everything. But you're also taking numbers and looking at it, analyzing decisions.
Sir, I know I'm not that dumb, but looking at the histograms, and they are, to me, they are a little different from the graphs I'm used to in the past. So they are little, you look at them a little differently than regular maths or regular
Math has its own little spin on it. Like trigonometry is different.
Like I said, on histogram, when you are looking at it, I mean, for example, when they ask you for the minimum and maximum value, if the graph is ending at 20, I mean, the lesson is multiplication. So
You always want to look at the data. You have the data. You don't have, I don't have. You have the data. The graph is a picture of it.
So when I was doing the quizzes, I mean,
The homework can get
86% is pretty pathetic.
No, it's good. But the same questions you have in the homework are the same ones that are in the quiz. So you should have seen it in the homework before you saw it in the quiz. The quizzes are a sample of them. So anything you see in the quizzes, you should have saw it.
So when you look at the maximum value, there is one number before the last one.
Maximum is the highest number.
So you never look or you never take value right before the last one.
Depends what you do. It depends. So I'll say that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this. Now, what I want you to do is kind of visualize. If you have 15 numbers, I already put them in a row. 15 numbers, I already put them in a row. Now, some of you guys did the whole little finger thing, right? Did you do that?
Yeah.
I remember that, which is totally fine. But I also want you to think about if there's 15 numbers, first of all, it's odd. What do we talk about odd? Am I going to circle it or it's going to be between two? I'm going to circle it. There's an actual number. And if there's 15, which one would it be? The eighth one, because there'll be 7 on one side, 7 on the other side. Okay, so keep those things with little clues. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the median for Michael Jordan would be 24.31. Okay?
Yeah.
Then for Kobe Bryant, there are 16 seasons. Even. So what's that going to be? Between two. Between which ones? The 8th and the 9th.
Yeah.
Right? You guys are saying the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's between these two. Notice how I'm labeling it, which means I need to add them up and divide by 2. And what do you get? 1954. Are we okay?
Yes.
Now, that is how to do it by hand. Doing it by hand is important. Now I want you to take out your calculator if you didn't already. Find the median for Michael Jordan, and you have 2 ways you can do it. Find the median for Kobe Bryant, and you have 2 ways to do it. Okay, so I'll give you a minute to kind of try those. Okay, so we go to our calculator. Remember, there are 2 ways to do it. Step 1, we did stat, edit. We put our Michael Jordan data in list 1. We put Kobe Bryant in list 2, but not in this screen, in the home screen. So to get to the home screen, we hit second mode. Starting at the home screen, second mode. We have 2 ways to find median, just like mean, just like standard deviation, just like what we covered before. One way is to hit second stat. Go over to math to the right, Then we choose number 4 median, second one for list 1, enter, you get 2431. Or second stat, over to math, number 4 for median, this time list 2, second 2, you get your answers. The benefit of this method is it gives only median. It gives you specifically median. Okay? The other way gives you a ton of stuff. So the other way is when you press stat to the right for calculate, number 1 for one variable statistics, tell it list 1, second 1. So if it looks like mine, under list, you do list 1. If it's just blinking, just tell it list 1, second 1. Push enter or go to calculate. It gives you a ton of stuff, but we're looking for median. Where's median? Down. Scroll down. What does median say? MED. MED. Same thing for Kobe Bryant. Stat, calculate, one variable statistics, list 2, go down to calculate. Now, notice I'm going over it with you, which is no problem at all, but I can't sit here and say stat, 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 to the right, to the right, to the right. You have to practice. We've done all this before. I've gone over it. You have pictures. You have all that stuff. You got to put the work in. You got to put the work in. Questions? Now, what we're doing is, if we're really going to compare Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, should we only look at mean? That's the only thing we're going to look at is median? The only thing we look at is median? No, we want to really analyze these guys. And one way to analyze it using median is called the 5-number summary. The 5-number summary consists of the minimum, Q1, median, Q3, and max. We don't quite know what that is yet, so let's do an example. Again, all of the calculator steps are here, step by step by step, all there to practice. Okay? So what I'd like you to do is find the page that has Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and go ahead and label the mean. Go ahead and label the mean. The median. The median. So for Michael Jordan, the median was 2431. And for Kobe Bryant, the median was 1952. Okay? So any questions so far? You have found the first of 5 numbers. That's the first thing to find in the 5-number summary, the median. Good so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to find the minimum. What do you think the minimum is? The lowest.
Yeah.
So the minimum for Michael Jordan is 408. And the minimum for Kobe Bryant is 539. Again, I already have an order for you. That's why it's easy to find the minimum. Okay, that's the second of the 5 numbers. The third is the max. So the max is the largest number. And since they're in order, so they're at the end. For Michael Jordan, it's 3,041. For Kobe Bryant, it's 2,832. Okay, stop there. Any questions on minimum, median, and maximum? Minimum is the lowest number, maximum is the highest number. Are we okay? Now, if I'm going to pick one of these players, let's say, they're both amazing, they're both wonderful, but I can't afford both. I got to pick one. Okay? If I only look at the minimum and the maximum, that gives me some information, but you got to be careful. For example, Michael Jordan, his lowest is 408. Does that mean I'm going to get 408 from him every single game? No, it's his minimum. Or for Kobe Bryant, 539. No, that's their minimum. Or for Michael Jordan, the most points he's ever gotten a season, 3,041. Am I going to get 3,041 from him every season? Probably not. That's his most. Or for Kobe Bryant, 2,832. No, this is most. We okay? What will I probably get? I probably won't get the extremes. I'll probably get the what? The middle. So let's figure out the middle. Okay? Now, when you find the median, you are cutting the data in half. So for Michael Jordan, his median is 2431. The lower half will be from 2404 down. The upper half will be from 2491 up. Lower half, upper half. Don't use the circle number. Are we okay? For Kobe Bryant, because it's even, we physically cut the data between 1938 and 1970. So the lower half is from 1938 down, and the upper half is from 1970 up. So what I would like you to find is the median of the lower half and the median of the upper half. The median of the lower half is called Q1, and the median of the upper half is called Q3. And again, just to remind you, for Michael Jordan, you're going to do 2404 down. That's the lower half. For Michael Jordan, it's 2491 up is the upper half. Don't use the circle number. Don't use the circle number. For Kobe Bryant, since we cut the data right there, you will use 1938 down, and you will use 1970 up. So basically, find the median 4 times. Lower, lower, upper, upper. Okay, let's see how we're doing. So for Michael Jordan, the lower half is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. The lower half is 7 numbers. So where would the median be? The 4th one. So the median of the lower half is called Q1, and that's 16/4. For Michael Jordan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers in the upper. So the 4th one again, 1, 2, 3, 4. The median of the upper half is called Q3. That's 26/33. Questions so far? Now, for Kobe Bryant, the lower is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. So where would the median of 8 numbers be? Between the 4th and the 5th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 1485. The 5th one is 1557. What do I do to those numbers?
Add them together.
Add them up.
Divide
by 2.
Yeah.
What do you get for Q1?
Yeah.
What do you get?
1521.
1521. Okay, same thing the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. 8 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4 between the 4th and the 5th. So you would add 2201 plus 2323 divide by 2. What would Q3 be? 22 what?
62.
62? 22, 62. Is that correct? Now, what have you done? Well, what the heck is this Q1, Q3? What does that mean? What do you think Q1 means? First quarter. So the first quarter of the data is here. What do you think Q3 means?
3rd quarter.
3 quarters. 1, 2, 3 quarters. Well, it jumps from Q1 to Q3. Where's Q2? The median. The median, another name for median, is Q3. Are we okay? So basically, we cut the data into quarters. Into quarters. Are we okay?
Yeah.
And here's why. We're not going to get 408 out of Michael Jordan, his worst. Okay, Michael Jordan had a disease his first season. Did we talk about that?
No, man.
It's called baseball.
Oh.
Okay? Was the first season. But anyways, he had a bad season. Could have been injury, could have been first season, I didn't check which one it was. Okay? And then his max is 3,041. What I'll probably get is his middle 50%. So if everything's in quarters, where's the middle 50%? From 1640 to 2633. That's probably the player I'm going to get, that middle chunk. And because we can cut it into quarters, we can find what the middle chunk is. For Kobe Bryant, I'll probably get between 1521 and 2262. That middle chunk, middle 50%. Everything's a quarter. Are we okay? Questions there? Now, in addition to looking for the 5-number summary, which we just did, we also want to look at 2 other things. The 2 other things we want to look at are called the range and the interquartile range. The range and the interquartile range. The range is when you take max minus min. The range is when you take max minus the min. So for Michael Jordan, that's 3,041 minus 408. If you take 3,041 minus 408, you get 2633. That is something else I can compare. That's something else I can compare. All right. So for Kobe Bryant, his range would be 2832 minus 539, which would be 2,293. So the range is where you take max minus min, and I can compare the ranges. Now, this is where you're going to have to think a little bit about sports. You're going to have to think a little bit about sports. If you're into sports, great. If not, you still appreciate it. In sports, if I'm going to take the lowest and the highest and subtract them, would you want a large range or would you want a small range, and why? Small range. Why would you want a small range? Good. It means that he's more consistent. So if I'm talking about consistency, who appears more consistent? Michael Jordan at 2633 or Kobe Bryant at 2293? Kobe Bryant seems more consistent, right? His scores are not all over the place or as far apart as Michael Jordan. But if I was Michael Jordan's age, I'd be like, wait a minute, hold on. That's not fair. You're taking his worst season, 408, and his best season, 3,041, which Kobe Bryant didn't even get near 3,041. And you're penalizing him for having extremes? That's not fair. You shouldn't be looking at range, max minus min. What would be a little more fair? The inside. So that's called the interquartile range, inside, interquartile range. So instead of taking the max minus the min, what would be a little more appropriate? Q3 minus Q1. So if you take Q3 for Michael Jordan, 2633, minus the 1640, 2633, minus the 1640, you get an interquartile range of 993. And for Kobe Bryant, 2262 minus 1521, you get 741. So still, Kobe Bryant appears to be more consistent, looking at the range and looking at the interquartile range. Okay? Now, as you do this by hand, part of you is like, ooh, what if I mess up? What if I miss a number? What if I do something wrong? Right? On the test, you're going to have to do it by hand. But is there a way to check it? Yeah. How do you check it? Good. You do the one variable statistics. Remember when you scroll down and there was a bunch of numbers? What were those numbers around the median? That was your 5-number summary. Okay, so go back to your calculators. Do one variable statistics. Stat, calculate, one variable statistics, list 1. Scroll down. Stat, calculate, one variable statistics, list 2. Put the numbers in the box and make sure you did it correctly. So the whole point of the calculator is to check our work. The whole point of the calculator is to check our work. Stat, to the right for calculating nonverbal statistics, list 1. Scroll down, make sure your numbers match. So if on the test, when you do it by hand, you may be like, oh no, what if I get it wrong? You will be able to check it in the calculator. You'll be able to check it in the calculator. Calculate nonverbal statistics, list 2. Scroll down. And you'll notice that everything matches. And again, this is not new for us. We've done it before. We did it before. We made sure we're right. We did it before. We made sure we're right. Now, our ultimate goal is to pick one. You can't have both players. They're too expensive. Let's say they both want to play for your team. They're both in their primes. They want to, or after these seasons, they want to come and they want to play in your team, but you can't pick both. Right now, you have some real numbers you can compare and see who's better. But most people do not want to stare at numbers. They want a picture. A picture. So the picture of a 5-number summary, is called a box plot. The picture of a 5-number summary is called a box plot. It's called a box plot. So I'm going to show you how to make it. On the next page, you have an example. But I'm going to show you how to make it. So on the next page, you have the steps right there, and then you have a little space. So first of all, every time we go to our calculator, we want to make sure we have a clean calculator. What does that mean? Go to y equals, make sure there's nothing in y1, make sure there's nothing in y2. If you have a plot that's highlighted, go up to it, hit enter. Make sure all your plots are unhighlighted. Make sure there's nothing in y1, y2, y3. Let's start with a nice clean calculator. Everybody have a clean calculator? Okay. And remember, Michael Jordan's in list 1, Kobe Bryant's in list 2. Michael Jordan's in list 1, Kobe Bryant's in list 2. We okay? Now, so far, we've done histograms. And we should be pretty good at histograms. And we practiced that at the end of last class. The same way you do histograms is the same way you do a box plot. Same thing. So how do you do a histogram? How do you do pictures? What do you push? Second y equals. Second y equals. Second y equals. Follow along. All stay together. Notice you have plot 1, plot 2, and plot 3. Okay, remember why we have multiple plots to show multiple things. We're only showing one picture right now. So let's go into plot 1. When we go into plot 1, the very first question, on or off? Let's turn it on. So everybody should be in plot 1, and they should push enter on top of on. Is everybody with me? Everybody with me? Yes. Good. That one person speaking for everybody. Now, when you push down, that's where all your pictures are. But to go through all 6 pictures, you push to the right, 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 to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. So you'll be able to go through all 6 pictures. You're able to go through all 6 pictures. The first picture is a scatter plot. Second picture is a scatter plot with the dots connected. The third picture is a histogram, which we've done. The fourth and fifth pictures, those are called box plots. That's the one we want. But we actually have 2 to choose from. But if you look at the 2 to choose from, what looks different between the fourth and the fifth one?
So I think fifth one is comparison of 2.
It's just one. What does the fourth one have that the fifth one doesn't?
So the dots.
Yeah, the fourth one has these little dots at the end. What do you think those little dots represent? Good. Yeah. So the fourth one, to me, is a little bit better than the fifth one. The fourth one shows outliers. The fifth one does not. The technical name for the fourth one is a modified box plot. That's the one I want you to choose. So choose the fourth picture, the modified box plot. That's the one that will show outliers. Push down. We're going to make X list 1 for Michael Jordan. X list 1 for Michael Jordan. Frequency, don't mess with. Push down again. If there is an outlier, you get to choose what you want to be a box, a plus, or a dot. So make sure plot 1 is on. Make sure that you selected the fourth picture. make sure that X list is list 1. Don't mess with frequency. Make sure this is highlighted. If you highlighted something else and you have other options, then it's wrong. Make sure you push enter on top of the box plot. Any questions so far? Does yours look like mine? Now the last step is the window. Like we did for a histogram, we're going to push zoom 9. Zoom 9. And when you press zoom 9, everybody should get the same picture. Everyone should get the same picture. Okay? So let me tell you what you're looking at. You see a vertical short little line, and in the middle of that vertical short line, you have a horizontal line that kind of extends, and then there's a box, a rectangular box. Towards the middle of that rectangular box, you have another vertical line, a horizontal line for a little bit, and then that line ends. That's a box plot. To figure out what that is, first of all, does everybody have the same picture? Push trace, and on your paper, draw what you see. So I see a little vertical line, a longer horizontal line that goes to a rectangular box. In that rectangular box is another vertical line towards the end of that box. Then we have a shorter horizontal line that extends from the outside, the right side of the rectangle. That ends. Okay? When you hit trace, you'll notice that it then tells you what each part of that is. So where this box plot starts, that is your minimum. So for Michael Jordan, this is Michael Jordan, the minimum is 408. So the whole graph starts at 408. Then we have that horizontal line, which starts at the rectangle. The rectangle, if you push to the right, the rectangle begins at what? Q1. Q1 is that rectangular box in the middle. It starts at 1640. That line inside the rectangular box, if you push to the right, is your median. That's 2431. The end of the rectangular box, if you push to the right, is Q3. That's 2633. And then you have that horizontal line that extends off of the rectangular box from the middle. That ends at the max of 3041. So that rectangular box in the middle of those lines, that is your Q1 to Q3. That's Michael Jordan's middle 50%. Then you have these little lines that extend off the middle of that rectangle. That's where the graph, that's where the data starts. That's where the data ends. Are we okay? Now, you're probably like, this is different. This is weird. I'm going to ask one question and connect everything you've learned. Notice you have that horizontal line that starts, that's long. Then you have the rectangular box. Then you have a shorter horizontal line. Are we okay?
Yeah.
Look at that box plot. Is it symmetric, skewed to the left, or skewed to the right?
Right.
I like waiting because people change their mind. The left side has a long line, then the rectangle, and then it has a short line. So that long line on the left represents what? Skewed to the left. So it's all the same stuff. It's kind of like a histogram, right? So it's all the same stuff. So here's your challenge. Does everyone have Michael Jordan on their graph?
Yeah.
Everybody got it, okay? Your challenge. I haven't taught you this, but I want to see if you can figure out. I would like to see Michael Jordan's box plot. Done. Check. And I want to see Kobe Bryant's box plot at the same time. So your job is to figure out, how do I show Michael Jordan's box plot and Kobe Bryant's box plot at the same time? Don't say it out loud. Play around, but I want two pictures at the same time. I want Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant at the same time. If you don't think it can be done, I'm going to show you what it looks like. It takes a little bit of thinking. And if you got it, draw and label it. Got it. Draw a label. I want 2 pictures at the same time. If you guess both, draw and label it. And then ultimately, you're gonna have to pick one. So if you do get both pictures, and then on the bottom, pick one.
Wait, no, wait, something.
Draw and label. When you get it, draw and label. Draw and label it. Okay, if you haven't figured it out yet, what's the trick? You have to use plot 2. This is the first time where we use plot 1 for Michael Jordan, and then we use plot 2 pictures at the same time for Kobe Bryant. So I go to second y equals, I leave plot 1 on, that's fine. But for the first time, we go to plot 2 because I want to see 2 pictures at the same time. I go into plot 2, turn it on, choose the first box plot, but this time I tell list 2. If anybody left it at list 1 and tried it that way, you would have noticed you got the same picture twice. Okay? So make sure that plot 1 is list 1, but plot 2 is list 2. You still have to hit zoom 9 when you're done, but then hit trace. When you hit trace, you can see the first one by going left and right. How do I label the other one? Push down. Okay? So make sure you label all of it. After you label all of it, on the bottom, I want you to write down which player would you pick and why. Which player would you pick and why? After you go and label it, write down which player would you pick and why. Which player would you pick and why. So I pick one player. Which one would you pick and why? Okay, let me tell you the worst answer that you could have right now. What's the worst answer you could have right now? A blank. That's the worst answer. You're waiting for me to spoon feed you an answer because you're too afraid to write down anything because you don't want to be wrong. That's not good. You got to pick one. And you're like, well, how do I back it up? What have we been doing for 15 minutes? Collecting data. And not only do we collect data, you actually have numbers. And you can compare them side by side in the picture. So you have all this hard work that we've done, and you're not using any of it. Right? So right now, pick one, write down their name, and using the numbers, justify why. Write it down, make that decision. Pick one, and using the numbers, write down why. Okay, so here's the other part. Sometimes people say, I pick Michael Jordan. And then I ask why. And you're like, oh, because he was in a cartoon movie with Bugs Bunny and all of his friends. Or I like because he does Nike commercials, right? What do we spend all this time looking at the numbers for, right? You got to compare the numbers. You got to compare the numbers, right? So raise your hand if you picked Michael Jordan. About half, a little more over half. Okay, why?
Higher median value.
Good. So you literally can state specific. Michael Jordan has a higher median. What else? He has a higher Q1. He has a higher Q3. He has a higher max. Fantastic answer. I choose Michael Jordan because he has a higher Q1, a higher median, a higher Q3, and a higher max. Wonderful answer, right? 5 numbers, 4 of the 5, he's better. He's a better player. Talking about points scored. Are we okay? Great answer. Now, the reality is when you have 2 boxes, like in this case, where one box is right above the other box, but Michael Jordan is a little bit better, it's tough. You have to really nitpick. If one box was clearly in front and one box was clearly behind, it's a much easier answer. Does that make sense? But when they're on top of each other, you really got to look at the specifics. Okay? They're both great players, right? They're both great. Now, raise your hand if you chose Kobe Bryant. Okay, a couple people, which means a lot of you just didn't raise your hand. So a couple people chose Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is also a good answer. Kobe Bryant is also a good answer. But how do you pick Kobe Bryant? What's your justification? He has a better inner quartile range. He has a better range, which means he's more consistent. And he has a higher minimum, right? So maybe your values are, I'd rather have a consistent player than a higher scoring player. So in this case, you could also argue for Kobe Bryant because they're both good. Remember, they're really close to each other. So I'd accept both answers. So what are you learning from this? How do you get it right? You have to back it up. You have to back it up. Okay, in this case, you can actually back up either one. Are we okay?
Yeah.
Questions? And again, believe it or not, this is one of the hardest questions on the test because people don't want to pick. They don't want to write. They don't want to put the numbers. But you got all these numbers to compare. Those 2 would be great answers. Are we good?
Yeah.
Good? Okay. So if you look on the next page, real quick review. We talked about mean and median. Mean and median. Remember, they're both measures of central tendency. They both find the center, but they find it in 2 different ways. Mean, you add them all up, divide by how many there are. Median, you put them in order, find the middle one. We said that they are preferences. Preferences. And what I mean by that is, if your data is symmetric, the mean and the median are pretty much close to each other. They're at the same spot. But we prefer which one when it's symmetric? The mean. And when you do the mean, that goes with standard deviation. Okay? So if your data is symmetric, they're both good, but we have a preference for mean. And when you do mean, that goes with standard deviation. All that stuff we did with 68, 95, 98.7. Right? But if your data is skewed, so if your data was skewed to the left, skewed to the right, or if your data was skewed to the left, the median is always dead center. The median is always dead center. And the mean moves towards the drag. We talked about that before. If your data is skewed, which one do we prefer?
Yeah.
We prefer the median.
Yeah.
And when you do the median, what goes with the median? The 5-number summary. And again, you can do either one, but this is a preference. And then the last couple questions talks about median real quick and mean. What are the effects of outliers to the mean? So for example, if you're doing a test and you got a 75, a 70, and a 72, but then you get 100 on the last test. Or no? Yeah. So outliers, do they affect the mean? Yes. dramatically, right? That can really change your score. Or if you get a 90, 95, and a 94, and then you get a 10% on the last test, that's going to drag your grade down. Okay? What are the effects of outliers on the median? They want you to say none. I'm going to say essentially none. And the reason why I'm not trying to be picky, but the reason why I'm putting essentially none, if you had 5 numbers, let's say 5 test scores, you got a, let's say you got 95, a 94, a 93, a 92, and a 0. Does that 0 bring down your median?
Yeah.
Median? No, median's whatever's in the middle. I don't care if this is a 0. I don't care if this is 100. It's whatever in the middle. Are we okay? The reason why I say essentially, it depends on the question. If I add an outlier, now I don't have 5 numbers, but I have what? That can change the median. So but what they're trying, the point is, if I have a 0, but my middle number is 92, it's 92. The 0 doesn't affect it at all. Are we okay? And that's just a characteristic of it. And then the last thing, just to remember that if your data is skewed, we prefer median. That goes with a 5-number summary. If your data is symmetric, we prefer mean. That goes with standard deviation. You okay? I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and I'll answer your question.